I'm back here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where I'll be doing some interviews and talks on branding in the digital world, entrepreneurship, and the global Islamic economy. But let's get into this Southeast Asian vlog post while I'm appropriately wearing my Raiden hat. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. One sincere and honest move will cover over dozens of dishonest ones. Open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Once your selective honesty opens a hole in their armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. A timely gift, a Trojan horse, will serve the same purpose. Greene starts this law by citing the story of Count Victor Lustig, who visited the reputed mobster Al Capone. He told Capone that if he gave him $50,000, he could double it. Capone told him to double it in 2 months. Long story short, Lustig came back to Capone 2 months later with the $50,000 in hand and said, "Please accept my profound regrets, Mr. Capone. I'm sorry to report that the plan failed." Capone slowly stood up, probably thinking about the endless ways of how to end this man's life. And right then, Count Victor Lustig pulled out the $50,000 out of his jacket and put it on the desk. "Here, sir, is your money." Lustig gives this short speech and ends with, "I would have loved to have doubled your money, for you and for myself. Lord knows I need it." But the plan just didn't materialize. Capone was confused. He expected to get back $100,000 or nothing, but to get his money back to the penny, especially from a man who seems to have fallen on hard times, just didn't add up to the gangster. Capone yelled out, "My God, you're honest. If you're on the spot, here's $5 to help you along," and gave him $5,000. Lustig, shocked, bowed, thanked Capone for the money, and took the gift. But you know what's funny? Lustig was after the $5,000 all along. The mobster had been conned by one of the greatest con artists of modern times, Count Victor Lustig, who was known for his fearlessness, audacity, and for his understanding of humans. Greene says the best way to have someone let their defense down is by appearing honest and sincere, because who could distrust someone who was caught in the act of being honest? In this case, Lustig being caught in the act of not being able to double Capone's money by his own admission, then handing Capone back his money, it confused Capone. When someone like Capone expects people in his world to either stick to their word so they're not killed, or just be outright dishonest to save their own lives or win it all, selective honesty disarmed Capone. Greene asserts that a gangster like Capone, who was always surrounded by wolves and hyenas, lions, tigers, bears, oh my, yearns to be the recipient of an honest or generous gesture. He doesn't always want to feel that everyone has an angle or is out to rob him. Lustig's use of selective honesty was just that. Greene then quotes the ancient Chinese line of "giving before you take," because giving in the beginning makes it hard for people to notice the taking later on. Taking from someone is outright dangerous, and asking honestly can make people resent you for your neediness. The author illustrates this saying of "giving before you take" with the notoriously well-known story of the Trojan horse. The Greeks had traveled across the sea to recapture Helen and to destroy the city of Troy. The siege lasted 10 years. Then they realized that they couldn't take the city by force, so they devised a cunning plan. Build a giant wooden horse, hide soldiers in it, and present it to the Trojans as a gift. As we all know, the trick worked, Troy fell, and one gift did more for the Greeks than 10 years of fighting. Greene ends this law with another story of Count Lustig. Lustig was selling the Eiffel Tower to an unsuspecting industrialist who thought the government was auctioning it for scrap metal. This guy Lustig is crazy. However, at the last minute, the industrialist felt something was off when he was about to hand the money to Lustig. Lustig noticed this and deep dove into conman mode. He started whispering into the industrialist's ear about how low his salary was as a government official, how he was having some hard times with personal finances, and the industrialist realized that Lustig was asking for a bribe. The industrialist relaxed and immediately went back to trusting Lustig because he knew that all government officials were dishonest, so Lustig had to be real. By being dishonest, Count Victor Lustig once again made himself look honest. Dude was good. This all reminds me of conversations I've had with, we can call them gentlemen of the inner city underworld, and the concept of sleeping people, which meant using loved ones or close associates to harm or rob a target because he would never ever see it coming. The reason why a loved one or a close associate would be used is because the good reputation of honesty, trustworthiness, and most importantly, time would not signal to the mark that something evil was being conspired upon him. I tell people all the time, don't glaze over the very small chinks in the armor of people. Do they talk bad about others to you? If so, they have the capability of talking bad about you to others. Do they take more pieces of bread when the waiter explicitly said to only take one? If so, they have the capability to steal from you as well. That's why I say, when you really pay attention to life, everything can be your teacher. In a world with the internet and social media nowadays, people can be outed quite quickly. For example, if someone runs pyramids and goes from one city to another, or if someone has a history of not paying back their loans, this history of deceit can be crowdsourced now, placed on Reddit, and the vigilante mob of the internet on different social media platforms will hunt your sorry behind down. So I highly advise against it. Well, that's all I have for Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. And when you do, according to Greene, you're able to attain some power. Signing out from rainy Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Take care and be awesome. Peace. Okay, I gotta go. It's raining.